Hello, this is Paxton. I'm going to try to see if I can get a video out to you guys. First off, before I get started, I haven't done many videos recently. I've been working on a couple missions. I put one on the Steam Workshop. It's a deathmatch mission in my Steam name Paxton. You can check that out, download it, and you can check the scripts out. It's nothing fancy. I just wanted to be short and sweet, and also just wanted to test out putting something on the workshop because it was actually the first time I did. So I just wanted to see what it all entails. But feel free to check it out. I have another large scale mission I'm working on. It's not done yet. It's going to take a little bit of time. And I was trying to think of a video to do, what I could do. I think I was going to change it up a little bit. Instead of focusing on one topic or one area of scripting, I figured we've covered a lot of it. So I thought it'd be neat to show you what I do when I'm making a script or making something for a mission, what my workflow is, and maybe it'll help you on when putting your ideas or finishing your ideas or getting your ideas started or whatnot. I was going to do this from scratch which I am still going to do it from scratch, but I was going to do it before I even coded it as an idea in my head, and I was thinking maybe I should just videotape or just record myself doing the whole thing. But since I can't make videos that often, I end up playing around with it beforehand. But with that being said, I'm going to do it as though it's my first time. So here we are, we're in Tanoa, and the script we want to make, and it's actually more than just a script. We're going to pretty much build a system, I guess you could call it. In games like Grand Theft Auto, you notice when you're going around a town or you're going around the city, there's always civilians, there's always things going on, and that can't happen unless you spawn them in and despawn them. So what we have here in Tanoa is absolutely nothing. It's a ghost town, a ghost island. So I wanted to make my own civilian type script that created civilians as you walk around the map in a manner in which it doesn't lag. That's the goal. The goal is to have it multiplayer, pop in your missions. Someone who doesn't try to make it in a way that someone who doesn't have any scripting knowledge can easily put it in their mission. So first thing you got to do is do a little brainstorming, and the best way to do that is getting something started. So what I'm going to do is, this is our mission folder. I've already saved this here, and all we have in our mission folder is the mission SQM. So I want to create a folder. I'm going to call it civilians, and then in that folder I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call it init.sqf. Since that's in the folder, the engine will not call it unless we do. So we're spawning civilians depending on where the player's at. So that sounds pretty client side. Sounds like some client side work to me. So let's get out of this folder. Let's create another file, and it's going to be init player local. And again, this is a built-in. This file is called automatically by the engine if it exists at mission start. And it gives you two parameters. Gives you the player, and it gives you is join in progress, the boolean. One's an object, player, the other one is boolean, true or false, whether that player joined at mission start or while the mission was running. Alright, so we are going to pass in the player, if I can get the right brackets, into our client, not client, I'm sorry, name it civilians. Net.sqf. So at the very least, if we do make this file or this what we're making available to other people, at the very least they'll just have to cut and copy, paste this into their mission and install this folder, and then it would be working. That's the idea. Of course I would like to have it so they don't have to do that, but I don't know if there's any way around that without a mod. So what we're going to do in our init SQF is this is just going to initialize. It's basically where everything is going to start, and what we're doing is we are spawning civilians. So we're going to need to initialize some variables. We're going to need to initialize some functions. We're going to need to start our script, which is going to be constantly going. As the player moves around the map, it's going to be constantly adding and removing civilians. So it's going to be a loop. So we need to start a loop. And we would need to, inside the loop, we would be spawning civs and deleting civs. This is what I do when I come up with an idea of what I want to do. I'll just go through and I make comments and just start adding things in, almost pseudocode. And so variables, what variables we would need? We would need an array. We could keep track of the civilians in an array. So it would be a civ array. We would need max number of civilians. We need some functions. I would like to spawn the civilians in buildings, so I need a function get buildings, get building positions. I need a function to spawn the civilian. And handle them. So then once you have everything, start filling everything in as you can think of. Civ array, let's call it civs. Empty array. Keep everything local right now. Max. Let's say max 50 for now. We can easily change that. We're going to need a radius around player to spawn in our civilians. We don't want them spawning in across the map. Let's do 200 for now. And what else would we need? Initialize some functions. We'll come back to that as we come up with our ideas. We can add them, but we know we're going to want to start a loop here. It'll be a while loop. And a good condition for this is while alive player. While the player is alive, we want to be running this script. So now we're going to need the position of the player. We'll use this position to find buildings. So we have our civilian array. We need an array of buildings. So let's go ahead and find some buildings. Buildings equals near objects position player of type house and building. A lot of stuff is type house and building, so this may give us more things than we want, but it should work for now. And a radius of radius. Alright, so now we get our buildings. We're going to need to find a building position. I'll tell you what, that would be a good function. We need to create a function called, let's think, fn get spawn position equals compile final pre-process, should I spell this right, pre-process file line numbers. Nope. I spelled that wrong. Let me find it real quick. Pre-process. What did I do wrong? Up at 2 C's. There we go. And this is going to be in our civilians folder. And we're going to call it fn spawn. Nope. Get spawn position.sqf. So all I'm doing is I'm compiling final, so it can't be recompiled at mission start. It helps with security, as far as I understand. Pre-process file line numbers. That's if there's an error in this script. It will, and when you get script errors, it will let me know which line the error was on. So we need to make this file. We'll need to call it. And what we're getting, this is getting our spawn position. So it is getting position equals call. Come on. Fn get spawn position. And we're going to pass in our array of buildings. Whoa! Need to pay attention to what I'm doing. Tab. Alright. Buildings, get spawn position. Up here, and we know we have a param. We can always go back and change stuff later if we want. But we're getting one parameter, which is buildings. Alright, so we get our list of buildings. We're going to want to select a random house. So which is going to give us our building, let's call it BLD equals select random BLDS. And then get our building position. Actually, this is going to be all building positions using a function that takes, this is a biz function, called make sure that's right. I usually get some of these names wrong. Oop, that's it. All it does is it returns an array of all the available positions within a building or structure. A lot easier than coding it ourselves. Now, there's going to be one problem, is when you're not around buildings, this is not going to leave anything. It's not going to be anything. So when you try to select a random building in this array, you're definitely going to have an error that is not going to be defined. And it's going to completely stop our script, so we need to prevent that from happening. So what we need to do is let's do this. If is nil. BLDS exit with false. Alright, so if buildings is nil or null, we're going to exit the variable, we're going to exit with a boolean false. Then we're going to do the same thing again with building. See, if you may not need to, because if buildings is good, then you would assume that the building it gets would be good. So we're going to keep it like that for now, though. But now, if the building does not have any positions, this would be null. And we'll exit with false if I could type. And we'll get position equals select random all positions this is the same way that should be good. I don't see why that would give us no variable. Just on the safe side, we can come take some of this out later and test it. But just to be safe, we're just going to exit with false if position is null. But if it's not, we're going to return it. So if we get a position, this will be an array. It'll be a position. If not, it's going to be false. So if position is equal to false, then do nothing else. We're going to spawn our civilians and handle them. So all this should run. I've already done a good bit of typing, so I'm going to just go ahead and run it. Make sure I don't have any errors. It's not going to do anything, but at least I can check, make sure I've done anything wrong yet. Which I have. It's line 17 of the init SQF, error missing semicolon, my near objects command. Alright, so I did something wrong with the syntax of this command here. Near objects. Position player. Let's go over to the trusted wiki. Plop that in there. Yeah, I think I did the wrong command. I think I meant to do nearest. Yep, I'm going to do nearest objects. Alright, now we got another one. Live player, undefined variable, and player. Not doing too good. Player, why are you undefined? Oh, that's why. Init player, I passed the variable in, but in my init I didn't declare it. I don't know why no one told me. They just let me go on and not do that. I could have stopped the video and told me. There, no errors. And a lot of typing, and we've done absolutely nothing except hurt performance just a little bit. That is an ugly helmet. Alright, back to here. So we're getting our objects, passing them into our get spawn position. And if we get a position, we're going to want to spawn a civilian. So I'm going to, oops, sorry, call and spawn civ. And spawn civ is going to need, this is a function I haven't made yet, we're going to make this in a second, but we know we're going to want a position for the spawn, and we don't want to keep creating groups over and over again because you're limited on how many groups you can make. So we're going to want to have one master group. So we're going to have to make a group and pass them in. That will go up here in our variables, and we're going to need to create a center and group. If you're spawning in a unit that there's no center, you have not placed with the editor, you're going to have to create a center for it manually, which isn't hard to do at all. It almost seems pointless, but you have to do it. And then we're going to create a group. Boom, done. So now we got position and group in our call fn spawn. Spawn civ, yeah, spawn civ. Spawn civ. Let's go over here to our folder. Spawn civ.sqf. Alright, now we got two parameters. We have our position and we have our group. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a variable. We're going to want the type of units. So type of units. These are going to be civilians. We don't want them all to be the same one. So we could create an array of a bunch of different civilians types, but if we keep the one type in different uniforms, the class name is pretty close. So we're going to do this. We need unit format, unit equals format, we'll format a string. It's going to be cman %1, what was let's see, what are these things called? C1%. I think it's casual. F. Let me check real quick. Was it Tanoa, guys? No, okay, yeah, that's right. It's casual 1F. Tanoan. This to here. I'll explain this here in a second. No and we are going to want risk. See, this is a class name here. If you noticed in the editor, you have several, pretty much the same class name, or at least the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 guys, the same class name, just that number changes, where this %1 is at. So we're going to need what we select to be there, and we'll do that by creating a variable equals floor random. And there was 6, so we would need 6. So that would be 6 plus 1, 6. Plus 1. That should give us a number 1 through 6, because floor random 6 is going to give us 0 through 5. So if we add 1 to that, we'll get 1 through 6. So that'll be good. Then we want to create our unit. Or spawn him. Create unit. And he takes 3 parameters that we're going to use, which is going to be the position, the group, and any scripts we want him to run, which we are going to want him to run. And we're going to go ahead and do that now. 0 equals this execute VM. We're going to call this the FN Civ Logic. Come up here, recruit that file, FN Civ Logic. That is QF. Alright. Now it's going to create a bunch of civilians. Probably to the point where it crashes. But we don't want to keep, see, this is going to be kind of demanding. So is that we don't want to keep doing this if we have our max civilians. So we need to stop it when we reach all this, when we have all the civilians we want. And another thing is, we don't want 50 civilians if we have only 1 building. So we are going to need to keep checking for houses and buildings near the player, which that's probably the most expensive function we've done so far. this out. So if civs, that's an array of civilians. We haven't filled them yet. Let's count civs. This is less than 500. Sorry, is less than our max parameter. And let's just use and, same thing. And count buildings is greater than so if we have one building, you know what, count, I think that was better if we count civs is less than count buildings. May need to tweak this a little later, but it should work. Let's see what I'm doing here. Alright, so if our civilians is less than our max number, and our civilians is less than the number of buildings, we want to just keep spawning them. That way, if we're not at our max, but we only have one building, and we have 2 civilians, we don't want to keep spawning more, because it wouldn't make sense to have 50 civilians around one house, or shed, for that matter. We need to get a count. We have not filled this array. Civs is still an empty array. So one would be a good point to check would be sometime after we create them, but not only when conditions are right, we want to check when conditions are wrong. So let's create a function that will give us our civs. Fn, let's call it count civs. How long have I gone? I don't want to drag this out too long. I'm probably make it more than one video. It's about 40 minutes, I think. Alright, I'll keep moving. I'll keep going. Sorry for my guinea pigs, they're being noisy. I don't know what they want. Alright. I already gave them a pepper, I don't know why they're getting so noisy. Alright, so this is count civs. Create that file, fn count civs .sqf, and we're going to need one parameter params, which I don't think we passed anything in. We'll have to get it ourselves. But let's get the player unit, who we need his position, and position. Make sure this is private. Before I forget, let's pass him in here. I'll make all these private just in case. I don't want them getting passed into any functions or any files and used there on accident. Alright. Call count civs. This should be pretty easy. Where's my count civs? Position player. And we're going to need a list equals position near entities. Near what? Yeah, near entities type man within the radius, which we're going to want that variable to, because we want that to be consistent. If we change it in the net file, we want it to go ahead and update this one as well without having to go in each file. So it would be intelligent to pass that parameter in. This would be here, net radius. We still have not got our civs yet. Now this is going to give us all entities in the game in 200 meter radius that of type man. That is not what we want. So we're going to do a for loop here. We're going to iterate through our list. From zero index to count list. Come on. This way we can iterate through our list, and we need to add one to that. That way our I will start at 0. Wait, we do not want to add. We want to subtract 1. Sorry. I know everyone was yelling at the screen to correct me. We're going to get a man. Wait. If... got ahead of myself. If list select I side, if the side of list select I is equal to civilian, then we've got our man. You know what, we're not even going to do that. We're just going to go straight to sieves, push, back, just select I. This is not going to work as is. We're going to have to do a little better. So I am going to want to clear this list. That's fine. Let's go ahead. Every time this starts, it's going to empty our array here. And then it's going to check again all entities, because you got to remember this is going to run inside a while loop, so it's going to continue to go. So if we put units in this list and not take them out or clear the list, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and civilians will stop spawning and we wouldn't know why. So now we got our civs array, filling it up. So we're going to go in there, we're going to empty it out, we're going to check for new ones, and we're going to check the new conditions. Come up here, we'll have new buildings, because we're not using pushback commands. So yeah, we're going to have, that'll be good. And spawn civilians, and see how many errors I get. Civ logic not found. That's right, I removed that. Push back. Alright. Spawn civ logic. But I did make the civ logic. Oh. Civilians. Let's see if that gives us any better luck. Hopefully it's not one that caused me to have to restart my game, but it looks like it might be. Oh. Really put this select I instead of list select I. Please let me restart. No! Sometimes you have a loop and you make a mistake, you gotta restart your game. Fun stuff. Alright, while that's starting, see if there's anything we can do with the civ logic. And one of the params is going to be our unit. It's going to be our only parameter. And let's go ahead, oops, for now, we will definitely change this later, but let's take our unit and let's tell him to move I was going to say position player, but I don't think player is going to be available inside this file. That's fine, we'll just leave it at that for now. Just 1 second to load. Go back to our mission. See if we got any errors this time. No errors. See if we have any civilians. Really, you don't have to just run around looking for them. There's a much easier way to do it. Look, got one there. Oh, there we go. Got one. Now we gotta check. He's running right to me. How convenient. And I already got it up here. Hint string. Count all units. And I have 9 units. And they're all just running. I don't know what they're running from, but they are running. Which you can fix that pretty easy. Over here. Just go ahead and take our group, set speed mode limited. Now let's see what we got now. And he's still running. Are you serious? Oh, he's slowing down now. He's checking his trees out. What you growing? I think he knows. How many we got? 9 again. This is pretty consistent. They're all just piling up here. I'm going to add in later some logic for the civilians, so they're not just doing this, which is retarded. I've already got it working. I'll show you later what it is. And there's also some other problems with this, because if you never mind. But let's go into a city. On map, single click, player, set position, local execute. Oops, I didn't mean alt tab. I'm going to open the map. Let's go to a big old city. Load in the LODs while we load in a crap ton of units. Which I'm sure we have at least 50 buildings around us. These LODs are taking a while. For some reason on Tanoa, the LODs seem to take longer. It might just be all Arma now, one of the last updates. But anyway, that's it for now. Um, I'll get more into this script later, and I hope you enjoyed it, learned something. Hopefully you're able to keep up with it all. Y'all have a good night, and I will talk to y'all later.